How you going, guys? Welcome back to the FairDinkum podcast. This week's episode again is with the four boys on the couch, but this time we played the Fresh and Grounded game, Ramadan edition. So we basically picked out from the set of cards, and there was questions about Ramadan, reflecting how we've outgrown from our last Ramadan, looking about like the hereafter as well, balancing between fear and hope, and many other questions. Inshallah, I know you guys will enjoy this one, so see you later.
I mean, a lot of the times Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us like, these things here, I've put them here, they're halal stuff here. Like, for example, you can get married. For example, you can earn a living. Nobody said it's haram. But when you allow it to consume you, when you allow it to dictate how your life moves, and you allow it to basically, be the path in which you walk, then you end up leading yourself to destruction because it's all temporary stuff.
Facts.
It's all things that are created, not the creator. Does that make sense? But what I noticed from working and managing everything during the first couple days of Ramadan, first couple of days were brutal, cuz.
Headaches or no?
Headaches, falling asleep. Like, I remember I went to pick up my brother from school and take him home. I was falling asleep, almost crashed. Yeah. I almost swerved off the freeway, like the genius that I am.
Wait, what are you doing, 100 on the freeway?
Yeah, 100. And what happened was I started... Like, when you're like, I'll just close my eyes for 2 seconds. Yeah. And then, that's not Noor, bro.
Yeah. I was like, the sun doesn't come from that one. What's going on?
So, yeah, I don't know, man. I was just, he fell asleep. He was next to me. He was lying down. And I didn't have anything on because, you're trying to stop all these bad habits that you used to do. And then those things, you can't really lean on them to keep you awake. So I ended up, it's like maybe the last 5 minutes of the journey. Starting the days, and then you just somehow fall into a trance. You're like thinking about something, and then your eyes close, and now you're seeing it. You're like, hang on a second, and then you wake up. You're like, you come back. I'm like, oh my god, I was awake for the rest of the day.
I was telling them just before I had the same on the way here. I had the same scenario, not on the freeway though. It wasn't as bad.
Yeah,
but that bit where you said, just as you about to fall asleep, you become ultra focused on something. All of a sudden, I'm ultra focused. I'm just thinking about something, and then I realize I'm going off the...
Because your eyes closed, man.
And I'm just like, damn, you know what I mean? But that's something about Ramadan, though. It gives you another level of tiredness.
Yeah, it's just mentally draining, like at the start especially. I didn't get the headaches, though. Do
you feel mentally fatigued, though?
At the start, I was, but then your body adjusts quicker than you think, man. And like right now, the thing is, you have moments in your day where you feel like, you can do this all day, you're good, you can do whatever tasks come up to you, but then there's other moments you give it like half an hour and you're just gone.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys get the same thing, but it just fluctuates the energy.
I remember I had, this morning, I had energy for days, I was good, all of a sudden, I need to take a nap.
Yeah,
man.
it's so weird.
That little crash that you get in your fast is bro, but tell me about the post-Fajr naps.
I think I have...
They're more like sleeps, bro.
Huh?
They're more like
sleeps.
sleeps. Not naps.
Sleep.
Oh, longer than an hour, yeah?
Oh, it's terrible.
What are they like?
Bro, I wake up in a day, is it the same day? Is it,
Bro,
it's like the after Asr naps.
Bro, the dreams that I get afterwards are like borderline scary.
Do you have coffee before it?
Yeah, I would have coffee before.
That's exactly what it is.
No, it's not,
bro. I guarantee you.
No,
you know what it is? You have the caffeine in your system. Like, you've just had it fresh and you went back to sleep.
Yeah.
Your brain is now working, cuz.
Yeah.
And you're trying to force it. For this is what I experienced at least.
Yeah.
I tried to force it and I had a nightmare, bro. I woke up and my dunya was shook for the whole day.
Yeah.
I was actually gone. I actually felt like that thing was legit real. I'd experienced it in my life.
Yeah.
And this trauma that carried out throughout the day.
Like, you feel like you're a part of it. You're actually everything moving.
Yeah. Like, I'm not too sure if it's a lucid dream, but it feels like it was legit. It happened. Now I know why those girls break up with their guys when they cheated on them in their sleep. That felt legit to me.
Oh, you started doing the actions and everything?
No, I don't know what happened. I don't know. Like, if I was doing the actions, I probably was.
Tell me why, bro. Tell me why post-Fajr one nap. I think this was post-Fajr or post-work nap that I haven't slept the whole day, yeah? Tell me how I have my hand like this while in my sleep, acting like I'm talking on the phone.
You're tripping out, bro. Do you remember what it was, though? Do you remember the
the dream? I can't share it on the podcast.
Yes.
But It's best.
You can tell us over dinner, yeah?
Inshallah.
Some people see the signal, they're like, oh, I know what it is.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
I think the people are wondering why you guys also cooked and seem like you got no energy. It's basically 1 hour before iftar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even 30 minutes left, 40 minutes left.
Pretty much.
Subhanallah.
And I'm usually good, like at this point of the time. Well, I'm not even going. This is like my peak time. But I feel like the cycle, like I can't even say words right now. But the compound of the lack of sleep and everything.
Yeah, it accumulates.
It accumulates. So this
Yeah.
is part of the day where it's just like I'd usually have like a nap type of thing
Yeah.
before.
It really depends on your day.
Yeah.
Like different days I use mental energy in the morning, and then I kind of take like a nap or relax, and then I'll be all right. But now, if like the last 4 or 5 hours you've been using mental energy, you're just drained.
Mm.
So
And you guys are training in Ramadan still. So I know Ali is because I'm training
Yeah.
with him. Susa and Ashraf.
Are you guys still training? Or?
yeah, I soccer Monday, gym Tuesday.
So it's all night stuff, like
Yeah,
evening,
night stuff.
never
I haven't
before.
done before iftar. It just depending on it. I've been going out a lot, like as in like there's going to my,
Hapsa.
nah, it's just like you have an iftar or something like that. So it's a bit awkward with going to the gym before it.
Mm.
You know, unless you get like an hour, then you come home, shower, then go to the house and stuff like that. It's a bit different. But
Yeah.
inshallah, next week when daylight savings kicks in,
Yeah,
it's a bit different.
Oh, way
And then you
better.
can
Easier.
actually build. It's a bit earlier, like you know, you have more time.
How are you working mostly from home?
Yeah, one day in office.
I don't know how is it, bro? Because what I've started to realize, I stayed home today. I had some uni stuff to do. All these other days I've been working. I realized the days I'm outside the house, the days go a lot quicker
Mm.
than
Yeah.
being at home. So I don't know how you're doing it. How is it? Are the days feeling like long?
I stay up from Fajr and work. So I pretty much work until I'm wrecked,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
and then sleep for like 2-3 hours, and then wake up, cold shower, and
the
then
work
do
day?
stuff. Yeah, my job said I can do any hours from 7 to 7.
Oh,
So I
okay.
got to do
Flexibility.
I got to do 7.5 hours between 7 to 7. So I do morning like until 12.
Yeah.
That's 5
Yeah.
hours, and then from like 5 to 7 or 4:30 to 7, I'll do a bit more.
That's
30
from
minute spurts.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like 2-3 hour break. You just nap and then you cold shower and you smash your day. I like it better than working in the city.
Mm.
Mm.
I feel like
Yeah.
working in this city makes it go pretty quick, especially when you start your day earlier.
It depends on your commute. What if your commute's like an hour?
That's even better because then at least that's 1 hour that's killed on commute on the way there. But think about it, yeah. For me, the bit that I struggle with the most is like breakfast time. Yeah, after like your body's digested that your suhoor and whatever, after that I get this massive like dump.
Mm.
So if I get past that little hump of that like whatever empty feeling in my stomach, and then it gets to like lunchtime or whatever, then everything else is calm after that. You know what I mean? Like the number one thing that I'm fighting is like sleep. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, bro. Look, I'll be honest with you. I don't think. I think the biggest like realization that I've had, and it's the funniest thing, is I realized food is a crutch.
Yeah.
For
it
me.
is. Every Ramadan I have that same feeling
Bro,
too.
you know the depression I get, right?
Yeah.
Think about those lunch breaks.
Bro, I'm telling you, I get
Coffee
random
breaks.
spurts of depression when I just think about, oh my god, right now I'd be so mad to have this. You go through like, you flick through TikTok, and then all of a sudden mine's all food, yeah? So all of a sudden this guy's made some sort of a soup from scratch, and he's got this crunchy bread, he's got the on the thing. I'm like,
All of a sudden you can hear all the effects, yeah? All
Bro.
the sound effects.
bro, I get
Little
so
details.
I get so angry, bro. I have like 50 different emotions running through my mom's pissing herself laughing. She's this guy's under ropes.
Stuff, man.
And then I'm like, bro, if I didn't realize this now, food is my biggest crutch.
Yeah.
Food and coffee. If I don't have that, like I'm usually bouncing and running around, acting like like somebody possessed majority of the time. I'm not possessed, relax. But majority of the time I have a lot of energy. Now I'm like, bro, I'm done. I'm like, I'm finished. I think that everything in the world isn't gonna work out.
Mm.
Every time like I do an assignment, that's not good enough. Every time I do something at work, it's not good enough. And then people are looking at the thing that I did. I'm like, dude, like you did well. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, it's not well. But then you realize, hang on a second, let me get a feed in me, let me get a coffee in me,
Yeah.
and let me see how I react. And you're like, oh, wait a second, it's not that bad.
Mm.
So it's a bit odd, but alhamdulillah.
No, I feel you.
I
on
reckon
that.
we should get into the game. What do you reckon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bismillah.
I was just gonna make one last comment.
Go ahead.
Yeah, before we get into the game. You know what's crazy, yeah? Like, on days, because I started bringing in lunch to work, yeah? And on the days where I forget to bring a lunch or I'm running late or something along those lines, yeah? And I have to go buy lunch, yeah? And obviously in the city it's more expensive to buy lunch, you know what I mean? I'm thinking how dragged this day is, because I'm not going to have like a proper lunch.
It's not going to feel the same.
It's not going to feel the same. And plus when you bring home food to work, There's nothing that beats it, yeah?
What do you normally eat when you're in the city?
Typical Somali food. Pasta, please.
So
Oh, you're talking
original.
about like at the city?
Yeah, like when you go into like, a
Oh,
shop.
no. They have like little restaurants like
Oh,
noodles
okay,
or something along
okay.
those lines. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Anyway.
You must meet up with Barista and eat that together.
He
We
loves
have
it.
lunch together every single day, bro.
So Barista's comment in the
Yeah,
chat.
he doesn't like Asian food, but
Yeah, I don't
he
get it,
doesn't
man.
have it. He
oh
will
no, he
have-
said he doesn't like Asians.
Hey,
Yo,
Yeah,
food.
that's-
Like that.
Yeah, you gotta cut that out.
He loves
No,
Asian.
keep it in there. Keep it in there. No,
What was I gonna say? And then and then the days that you don't have, bro, I lost my train
yeah,
of
the
thought.
food. Like,
Let's get into the
What was I
game.
talking
yeah,
about?
takeaway.
The home cooked meal.
Yeah, the home cooked meal. I was thinking about how long my days and all that kind of stuff. But nowadays, I don't have food for the whole day, and it's like I'm functioning like completely fine. You know what I mean?
Kind of prove yourself wrong, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's also due to like the heightened self-awareness, like that consciousness that you get during Ramadan. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
You're humbled, bro. You're not distracted.
Yeah.
We also have a
100%.
reason for it. Like even intermittent fasting, you're like, oh, you know, I can cut it right now. It's not that deep. The repercussions aren't that bad.
Exactly.
This is like if you break your fast, you have to go make up the day. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not making it up for a glass of water when iftar's in 2 hours.
And even if
Yeah.
you break your fast, let's just say, like, how much of a loser would you feel like just
Yeah.
eating in the middle of Ramadan?
But imagine you break your fast, take like one sip, and you're like, that was not worth it. That's literally what would happen.
That's what it
Yeah.
feels like. Because you know when you take a sip at afur or iftar or whatever, you think, oh yeah, I can go another 10 hours now.
That quote, yeah, you know the one where that guy goes,
Go say it.
you fast for 10 hours and then you have 5 minutes of pleasure when you eat. It tells you like the dunya's temporariness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is, bro. Wallah.
It's actually a good quote. What's the
Because at
funny?
the start of the year, he was bagging me for saying something cliche.
Oh.
Like, you know, the Tumblr quotes or whatever. Like the Sahaba thing.
I told you, I'm on the ropes. If I don't have food, I'm on the ropes, bro. This is a different human being, cuz.
No,
No,
but
no,
so
but sorry,
true,
sorry.
man.
Actually say it properly.
No, that's what
I'm
it
gonna
was.
get
I'm
aerated from being
paraphrasing.
a
I'm
capital or
paraphrasing.
something.
It's like yeah, if you're fasting or whatever, they look at it as like basically like a example of what this dunya is like. You get your temporary pleasure for 5 minutes or whatever it is, and it doesn't really last. But yeah,
So
anyways,
true, man.
Get into the game, but don't.
This guy's just laughing.
Everything's funny. Anyway, can someone give an introduction? Ali, go give an introduction.
For the
To
game.
the Freshly Grounded game, because it's been an annual thing that we've been doing.
And you'll think this is the second time. So we're doing the Freshly Grounded game.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen, basically there's a pile of cards of certain questions to either ask your friends or family you do it with. And this is our second time doing it. There's a Ramadan edition that we're doing.
Third time.
Third time?
Yeah. This is
But like
third
the-
year in a row.
No, we did once the normal game, and last year we did the Ramadan. Now doing Ramadan again.
So Ramadan edition second, so third overall.
And why do we like to do it?
Because you kind of figure out questions that it doesn't really come up in our conversations, and then you can delve into other topics that we never ever actually think of.
Mm.
It's actually pretty good.
And we love a deep conversation.
Love it.
Alhamdulillah.
But we're pretty goofy today, so
Hey, speak for yourself, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Things are gonna end up a bit deep for no reason now.
I do want to start it off then, Ali.
Yeah, Bismillah. Couldn't think of one.
So usually we just pick it randomly. Someone's gonna ask a question, and whoever relates to it the most just jump on it. Basically,
All right, I'll just say the top one then. Give me one principle that changed your life that I could implement. Principle, quote, or whatever, like lesson learned. Doesn't have to be the biggest thing that changed your life. Just something maybe even recent that comes to mind.
Can you say quote? Because recently someone hit me and I started.
What's so funny with these guys?
I did
Guys
like
are
the
I don't know. I heard this quote yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know. It hit me. Obviously, I haven't implemented it, but I think it's something that it put to words what I've been thinking for a while. It goes. There's a difference between. I think this is a Matrix quote. Actually, it's crazy, but
Like
never watched
Top
the
G?
movie. No, Matrix, not Top G.
Oh, like the
The
green
movie, yeah. So there's a difference between knowing the path and walking it. So, like when you look at how you implement the deen in your life, you've got things that you need to do. Like, your morning adhkar, your sunnahs, your dua after you do wudu, that kind of thing, yeah? Like there's these little bits and pieces that the ajr you get for them. And it's at the back of your head and you know the path, basically. But if you don't implement them and you don't action them, then khalas, you're not getting the reward for it, because actions and intentions, or actions and thoughts, are two different things. There's like, you have to put something into practice for it to work. So yeah, that's something that just hit me recently, seeing as everyone stayed quiet. I just might as well share that.
Yeah, that's good.
Anyone
like
got
that.
anything else?
It's good. I remember Sheikh Samir touched on that a lot. We had him on. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He touched on it, like with our parents. You know, sometimes we know the fiqh of something, or the ruling, or the reward of like praying sunnah when you enter the mosque, or praying sunnah fajr, or the adhkar, or the this surah that you read. And then our parents don't know it, or our elders don't know it, but they're doing it. And us, we are always, you know, we don't have the same, we're not acting on everything we know.
For sure.
That's, yeah, it's a good point.
Don't sleep.
That's a good
Yeah,
one.
facts. Well, shout out Joseph and shout out Samir as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to
like
get him
that.
back on, bro.
Yeah, we actually have to.
Inshallah. So no one else got
I was
anything?
thinking,
I don't know, principles that like, you asking for like life-changing principles. And
Yeah,
it's hard,
I had a quote. I just
yeah,
threw
no, that was
out
a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah, I like that.
You know what came to my mind straight away? Firstly, I'd say more of a concept rather than a principle.
What was that?
Like I remember I was in a car with my cousin and we're just talking or whatever, and then the guy, whatever, we're in an Uber, the guy was just aerating at the front, you know what I mean? And the concept of the conversation, without delving too much, was about like desires and stuff, you know? And then my cousin says a quote, he goes like, we're all a slave to some form of desire. Yeah? And then like it made me realize like the whole thing, it's like we actually are, because even Ilahi mentions it in the Quran, the whole concept of they take their desires as their Lord and all that kind of stuff, you know? And it's realizing what that desire is and then taking control over it. And the bigger concept behind that is like the whole idea of like discipline, you know, because that ends up being like blocking, it ends up becoming like an obstacle in whatever you're trying to achieve.
Mm.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, that's the
And
root
it's like that-
principle, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it goes along with the philosophy code. It's like if you don't remove the obstacle from your way, it becomes the way. You know what I mean? So if you don't tame that desire of yours, whatever it is, you know what I mean? This, that, girls, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. It ends up consuming you and ends up stopping you from doing whatever you want to do, like further on in life.
Like
Yeah.
we have, as Beni Edim, we have things that are our vices, yeah? You know, some people it's women, some people it's money, you know what I mean? A lot of the times Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, like, these things here, I've put them here, they're halal stuff, yeah? Like, for example, you can get married, for example, you can earn a living. Nobody said it's haram. But when you allow it to consume you, when you allow it to dictate how your life moves, when you allow it to basically, you know, be the path in which you walk,
Yeah.
then you end up leading yourself to destruction, because it's all temporary stuff.
Facts.
It's all things that are created, not the creator. Does that make sense? And that's what we all stem our worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we submit ourselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's decree and to His will, because we know that He's created the path to walk on. That's the Sirat al-Mustaqim, and we have to follow His path, because He knows how He created the world. He knows how He created us. He knows what our vices are.
Yeah.
Bro, there's like, even like the challenge of the shaitan, like the God's been here since the beginning of time. He knows exactly what our little bits and pieces are. If I move you this way, you're gonna be off your head.
Yeah.
If I let you do this, you're gonna end up going into that. You know what I mean? He's seen billions of us. So we're not nothing special.
And you know the funny thing is we know what our vices are, but like we fail to be self-aware. Like we choose not to like delve into it because of, I guess, the unknown or whatever and all that kind of
But
stuff.
it takes effort. That's why.
Yeah, it does.
There's
Exactly.
conscious thought that goes into, because you're fighting against your default setting
Yeah,
to be pushed towards these desires.
yeah, facts.
Your desires and your nafs, your default setting.
100%.
So when you're fighting it, it takes a lot more effort.
100%.
It takes conscious thought. It takes conscious action. It takes the ability to go, okay, I'm falling in this direction right now. I need to walk away the other way.
Yeah,
But if you continue to move in that direction, you're going to end up doing what you're doing.
yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So,
And they don't always necessarily, when I say desires as well, it doesn't always necessarily have to be like an overly like bad thing type of thing. Like caffeine, coffee can be like one, for example. You know what I mean? Where like you're so, I guess.
I've heard that there's negatives to being addicted to coffee
Yeah,
or
100%,
caffeine.
100%.
I've heard that they're not like physically, physiologically or whatever, but like deen-wise as well.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't remember where I heard it from.
I heard you live a longer life, bro.
Are you saying over dependent or like how does
Not
that link
even
with-
over dependence.
saying like dependent on anything in the deen, you shouldn't be. Because I know that when coffee first came out, the ulama of the time used to
Smash it.
used to really use it as a substance to be able to increase your knowledge, increase your ibadah.
Well, they
Yeah.
chewed
Like
on it. They chewed on it, yeah.
So,
I don't know
someone
that,
was
but-
saying like there was one thing you need to check if you're indulging in too much of your desires, like food,
Yeah, that's
or
what I
women
meant.
or
That's
whatever.
different, yeah. That's
Yeah.
They
different.
say that caffeine can be a source of why.
A
like-
white?
Of why.
Oh.
Like I can't remember where I heard it from.
Yeah, yeah.
It might have been, do you know Cambridge University, you know Abdul Hakim Murad?
Yeah.
He was doing a lecture and he spoke about maybe looking at your caffeine intake as a source of why you may be falling into too many haram things or watching the wrong things or doing the
Yeah.
wrong things or saying the wrong things. He goes, because whether we like it or not, we're kind of in an intoxicated state. Not really intoxicated as in like drugs, alcohol, whatever it is.
Stimulated state.
We're stimulated.
It
Yeah,
might
yeah.
even push you to when you're tired. Like the caffeine, you take that because you're tired
Mm.
or whatever it is. You don't have that as much focus, and the caffeine pushes you further, and then you're even more tired later on. And when you're tired, it's when shaitan gets you.
Mm.
So maybe it links to that.
Possibly. Look, I
Damn,
don't know
that's
the
a massive
wisdom.
extrapolation, yeah.
I don't know the wisdom behind it.
Yeah.
I just think in general, like if you're taking something that, like you want this thing, and it becomes a habit of getting it right now and getting so much of it because we have access to everything.
Yeah.
It's the same as food. Like you're consuming so much. Like people might say, "Oh, it's just food. Like how bad can it be for your deen, this and that?" But it's just the habit of getting that like quick dopamine or whatever of like coffee, whether it's food, takeaway, and that can link to like I'm getting everything I want. So then I'll end up doing stuff that I feel like doing, like nafs wise.
But that could lead to anything. Just the idea that
That's what I'm saying
caffeine
though,
was
yeah.
listed itself. When it's pulled apart from any other type of food or drink or beverage,
Mm.
then it's a bit different. If they just said food such or drinks such as caffeine, then that's different. But when they just list
Yeah.
caffeine specifically,
Mm.
it's like, okay, there must be something with caffeine that some Islamic scholars think isn't good.
I think it might have been Ghazali.
it's
Don't
right.
quote me on it.
Yeah.
It might have been Ghazali.
I
But
don't know when coffee even got widespread.
I don't even
So
know. Bro. I don't even know.
I
But
thought it was more during the Ottoman time.
I might be.
I thought way before that.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
it was. Maybe widespread's a different
Yeah.
word because people. Yeah,
I'll find it wherever it is I heard it from.
I know the Mongols were on it.
yeah.
Yeah, Genghis Khan and his boys.
Tells you,
But
bro. I
that-
got milk
wasn't that
3/4 of the
1400s
world,
anyway?
bro.
That's what Ghazali was 1,000.
Yeah.
Oh, is he saying Ghazali?
Yeah, that's what I just thought. But it doesn't matter. Bismillah.
I reckon this would be a good idea for this question. I reckon everyone gives me one word instead of doing a deep dive for this one, just because we might be running behind on time.
All
So
right, that was a very good idea.
When you think of the afterlife, what's the first emotion that you feel?
I'd say I don't know, excitement.
Is it?
Nice.
Yeah, like I don't know, just only because the past few days with some of my friends we've been like just talking about Jannah, and they just brought it up on topic, like how excited they are, like, and also like the idea of trying to fathom it.
Are you watching the Sulaiman series?
I
I am
started
too.
there. I need to catch up,
Yeah.
and I'm super excited to catch up on it, man. So that's kind of getting the excitement out, where you're starting to reflect more, and you're trying to fathom what it actually is, even though you can't. But that's where the excitement builds,
Yeah, I get you.
and it's just
100%.
beautiful. So it's at least
Softens the heart. Yeah?
it does. It softens the heart a lot, and it just pushes you for more like motivation to do what you're doing in Ramadan, more good deeds. And
I've been listening to those vocals only Mahir Zain nasheeds.
Yeah.
Just to
pretty
kind of
good-
get
they're
my
pretty
fix.
good,
Bro, I will start crying, bro.
man. Good, honestly.
No food, no caffeine, this is different guy, bro.
He's just hovering.
But anyway, sorry,
Well,
what?
nah, honestly, the Sulaiman series is really good, and all of his series, it's always good to go back on if you haven't watched them before. The first thing that came to mind was fear, because when you say like the afterlife, it's more the first step. What's the first thing that happens? It's in the grave. And I listened to the first couple episodes, but it's one of those things where Sulaiman or all the ulama explain, like, if you're successful in the grave, you'll be successful, on the Day of Judgment. It's like those things, if you can answer those questions right, inshallah, Allah will make the grave peaceful for you, and that journey until the Day of Judgment will be of ease. So that kind of thing, it's like, you don't answer the questions are easy. Like really, they're actually like an easy question. Like we can answer it's like if I said anything else, I'd be stupid and you get mocked.
Yeah.
But it's that fear that somehow it's because it's not my tongue saying it. Yeah. So that's the only thing. It's like that fear because it's the punishment, man. Like we can't fathom it. Like I was listening to the Seerah as well, and And it talks about Abu Talib. Abu Talib passed away. It gave the explanation that he's going to be the least punished person in Jahannam. And it spoke about his explanation of what that's going to be. The least punishment is like either wearing shoes or standing on fire, like your feet are getting burnt, heated up, and it heats up your body so much that your head boils. It's like that's the least punishment. And I know me, in summer, I can't even walk on the concrete when it's hot. It's like that idea. It's okay, hey, how am I actually going to survive? And it's that fear that, that's where I might end up.
100%.
Yeah, questions like you also, like, you question your sincerity because you want to always purify. You always want to reinstate your intentions and making sure that your intentions are straight, because there can be times where there might be random thoughts in your head, whether it's shaitan or even just your nafs, doing it for other reasons, but other than pleasing Allah. But that's where you have to keep reinstating it, keep pushing to purify it.
100%. I'll recommend the lecture you should watch about that specifically, especially seeking status. Abdul Hakim Murad made one about seeking status. I'm not too sure if that's your type of thing. He's a bit more on the intellectual side. I'm not if you guys are on that, in the academia.
Maybe your followers are.
Hang on a second. You're not subscribed. Can you do me a favor? Run that mouse or your finger to the bottom there. Click that subscribe button. Turn on that notification bell as well. Thank you. I'm just playing. But no, he's very, very pro.
What's the lecture called? Any idea?
Seeking Status. Just look up that. I think it was from the Ramadan series last year. And he delved into some amazing concepts. Just speaking about the just the world and how it is now. It's intoxicated by fame and likes and so on. But
attention.
We'll move on to the next one, inshallah, bro.
Wait, did you have an answer to that?
Me, obviously fear, bro.
Fear, yeah.
And basically what Ashraf was saying. Yeah. I don't know where I'm going to be or how I'm going to be there and how long it's going to take. So hopefully, inshallah, Allah puts us through.
Mine is similar, but just more so pretty much everything Ashraf said, except have I done enough? You know what I mean? It's okay, cool. Once it's all done and said, have I done enough that everything else becomes essentially easy for me from there? You know, because there's no turning back. You know what I mean?
100%.
And you rather seek Allah's when you have fear, you're begging and you're seeking Allah's mercy than more on the side of it where it's the hadith, whoever says La ilaha illallah will enter Jannah, or every Muslim will enter Jannah one day. I don't want to have this false idea that's Jannah, 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 I'm going to be there, and then it's rather if I fear it, I want to do more. Yeah, that's just how I work. Obviously, everyone works differently.
Yeah, and regret as well. You know what I mean? It's could I have done something? You know what I mean? That possibly could have changed my trajectory in that life. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, next thing, that could have been a very, very deep segment if we just went unraveled that. You know what I mean? But hey, I really like the fact that you said excited. You know what I was thinking straight away? I was thinking of someone that just wanted to
say it, bro.
There's yeah.
No,
say
it. You just want to die,
Stop this dunya, man.
It's
I'm
too
out of here.
It's too long for me.
You have those moments, straight up. You think of Jannah, it's stop this dunya, bro.
Yeah.
It's only if you're guaranteed.
Oh no, that's the thing. We don't know.
Yeah.
Bro, this wasn't even my question, bro.
But that's why people make dua to pass away, as a martyr or on Hajj or something like that. Just any of these sujood, these ways that are just, more likely to
It reminds me of the Twitter
receive
akhis.
Allah's mercy.
You know, the Twitter akhis where they go, oh, my iman is so high. Ya Allah, take my soul right now.
What? I've never seen that. Thank God I haven't.
You know the Twitter. Anyway, what habit from this month can you keep with you for the rest of the year? Even though we're only 8 days into Ramadan, 7 days. What's something? I feel like we're building up the stride into Ramadan.
Just on this question, there's can you keep and will you keep? Because some of the habits are really hard, the idea of, one thing I'd like to keep maybe is, it's not even a habit I've seen, but Qiyam al-Layl. Even if it's something like 2 rakat, because you're up for suhoor anyway, you can just pray 2 rakat quickly and you make a dua. But just the idea to do more, and always seek Allah's assistance and stuff like that. You can make more consistent dua. And it's just a good habit, now we get up every single day, Fajr, or 20, 30 minutes before with that question. It's because I need to eat. I need to nourish my body. I'm not asking for 30 minutes every day. Even if I just do every Jummah, I pray Qiyamul Layl at 2 rakat,
Mm.
you know. I think that'll be a good habit that I'd enjoy keeping.
Mine would be removing a sin each time. Because I don't know if you guys have heard recently, there was, I don't know if there was a lecture or there was some sort of a hadith. I think it's, I'm not going to quote the scholar's name, but he spoke about how the way it's more beloved to Allah for you to remove a sin than to add a good deed. He was saying that, I think this might have been inside the Jannah series. He was speaking about how the way removing like that dime of you removing it is more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than 600,000 dinar. I have to
Very
find it.
interesting.
I don't want to quote it, but there's a lot of scholars that agree that there's more goodness in leaving a sin for the sake of Allah than to add a good deed such as a sunnah or a nawafil, something that's not really in the fara'id that we do. So yeah, it's like you might want to get rid of those things first, whether it's backbiting or whether it's swearing, whether it's indulging in the wrong viewings and so on.
Yeah.
So yeah, bro, that's probably something that I want to do. I wanted to continue looking at or doing an audit of my life.
Are there things that you removed at the start of Ramadan that you plan to remove?
They are, but they're between me
Yeah,
and
yeah,
God.
don't
Oh, yeah.
verbalize it. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, but there, alhamdulillah, there are a couple that I've looked at that are massive gaps,
Yeah,
and alhamdulillah, I've got no option because you're fasting, you know.
Yeah.
yeah.
So those things are kind of like eliminated for now. But like I said, hopefully into Ramadan, outside of Ramadan,
yeah.
when the shaitan whispers comes back and that,
Mm.
I don't want to be back on that wave.
Yeah.
I want to be off it completely for good, inshallah. So
Honestly speaking, have you seen like the positive effects of having those removed, or are you still in like that early phase of trying to like make it a norm, not having it in your life?
I'm seeing it kind of, but I don't think it's something that you can see in the physical realm.
Mm.
The things that, for example, that I was struggling with,
Mhm.
but it's a lot more something that you hope for the reward to come in the hereafter than for me to sit here, you know,
Yeah.
because I shouldn't be doing it in the first place anyway. So
Facts. Yeah,
I know
yeah,
that
for sure.
everyone has that. So everyone has that one thing that they need to remove from their life, or a couple of things, or probably
Yeah.
more than one.
A dozen.
So yeah,
A million.
Wow.
I think the habit that I want to continue is like probably just going to the mosque more often, just making it normal. Even because in Australia we drive a lot, so we have the opportunity, whether it's coming from home, from the gym or wherever, we can make the pit stop and go into the mosque. It's not hard. We have the options, alhamdulillah, in our areas. So because we've been going to the mosque like almost every night now, or sometimes even twice a day, it's like phenomenal. All of a sudden it's like, yeah, I can make the time. I can go to the mosque. It's like, what excuse do I really have?
you don't take the bus.
Only in Spain, huh? Only in Spain. No, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's true.
you start to think about, it's like you think of all these excuses. You start to convince yourself in your mind, no, I don't have the time. I'll go tomorrow. I'll go next week.
Yeah,
Then-
for sure.
But then we do have the time. But like
You do
it's
have it, yeah, but you have to make it.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
it's actually convenient for us because we have cars. There are other places that actually have to take buses or transport, and it's not as easy to go. Maybe weather-wise.
And if you think about it as well, yeah, Taraweeh isn't 15 minutes like the usual salah that we do. It's an hour and a bit sometimes.
We're making an hour every night to go
You
to the
also
mosque.
leave dinners early. Like sometimes you're at a dinner, you're like, I'm going to go Tarawih.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
some people won't go, you would go, and it's like, okay, that's a bit. There's a confrontation in that scenario, and you take it every day. Like, this is just what we do.
Yeah. Goes back to that conscious step, yeah, like we were talking about earlier. Goes back to actually being conscious of that time. They start at 9, whether you like it or not. If you're not there, it's starting without you. And you're like, no, I need to do it because not only is it Taraweeh and it's Ramadan and so on, it's like, oh, well, like I actually need to drop what I'm eating now. I need to drop what I'm doing now and just leave it for now, for an hour, come back to it later.
Yeah.
So that's an hour commitment comparison to like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah. Make it a commitment is a big thing.
Mm.
How about you?
Well, I'd say I piggyback off Ali's thing a little bit, but more acknowledging that like my life revolves around Salah rather than Salah revolves around my life. The other way around, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like not making Salah fit, but making my schedule fit around that type
Yeah.
of thing. Like, I don't know, I find it so nice because I used to be like, cool, I wake up in the morning, snooze, 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 snooze. But now, cuz, I don't hit snooze more than once. Because I know I have to eat, and if I don't eat, I'm going to have the most depressing day because I didn't eat, you know what I mean? But why can't I do that just specifically for Fajr alone? You get what I mean? And then, like, the other things as well, it's like, now I'm hitting gyms after Isha type of thing, you know what I mean? Before I'd hit it through Isha, and then after I pray when I get home type of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's
100%.
not, bro, there is no better
100%.
feeling than coming back home, yeah, and not having to pray a salah. Like, it sounds weird,
No, it's true, bro.
but like, as in, like, now you don't want to be rushing it. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
I know what you're saying.
It's
Yeah.
more like when it's a tough feeling when it's like late at night, you're wrecked, you just want to sleep, and then you got to pay, Isha, you got to maybe pay witr, and then it's like, you want to enjoy the process.
And it sounds bad, but you're half-assing it. Like, you're half asleep, like, in prayer. You're not, it's not as conscious as it could be if you did it on time.
So
Yeah.
100%.
Facts. So yeah, that's what
I
I'd
like
probably
that.
say.
Okay, I got one question, and then we got the cameraman producer Ahmed to give us a question. So my question is, in your opinion, what is the key ingredient for a successful Ramadan?
In my opinion.
Yeah.
What I'll keep it short and sharp. I'll say that those habits or those vices that were ruling you before don't rule you after. And you've pretty much maintained the momentum that you've got for at least a couple of months or forever after the Ramadan is over. So that's probably it.
I would say sense of community, because just feeling and understanding that we're all in this together, like in Ramadan, we're all trying to achieve a bit, like do more things than we did in the last Ramadan, trying to become better Muslims in general. And I think even recently some of the group chats, like you start to realize that, okay, like some of these brothers are saying things like, I'm striving to do this, I'm listening to that. It's like, okay, it's not just me trying to do this and that. We're trying to actually help each other out here, and that's how we can actually grow to become better.
We're all warriors.
Warriors.
Yeah, well, next.
What's yours?
Oh, mine. Obviously, there's one thing is achieving the goals that you set out for. But for me, just a successful Ramadan is just building a strong connection with the Quran. Because I always, like we spoke about maybe before, like if the goal is khatam, it's like the other 11 months you wouldn't even complete one khatam. But then you want to do one in Ramadan, which isn't a bad thing, it's a good thing. But it's just having that connection. This is a book that, Ali was saying in one of the group chats, now when you're trying to do khatam or you're trying to read a lot, you're looking for free patches. I've got 5 minutes before my friend comes, I'll read a page. I got before Isha, I got to the mosque early, let me just open it up and read a page. After Fajr, I'll just do 2 pages now quickly, or just 2 pages. So you're looking for these pockets to try to read more. Obviously, we want to understand too, but in this month, just read. So just this idea that the Quran, there's so much time in our day to actually fill with it, with the Quran. It's a beautiful thing. So to me, just that connection with the
Brings
Quran.
barakah as well.
What do you think, buddy?
Before we end it, I was gonna say, piggybacking off Ali's again. I really
piggyback.
I rated the
I've got to take a photo of him piggybacking. Or Ali piggybacking.
the community thing. Like, I don't know, I feel like a successful Ramadan sometimes exists, like, because it brings your family closer together as well. You know what I mean? It's not, because it's like what Monique said, the whole thing about societies nowadays is like the individualism, and there was the other one, collectivism. Yeah, exactly. Whereas in Ramadan, you see people all going to like the masjid together in families, in groups, and it's like Eid, but for 30 days straight type of thing when you're at the masjid. Or it's like Jum'ah, but every single day basically a Jum'ah, you know what I mean? I don't know, there's something like low-key nice in that. But then also on top of that, it's like just having, I guess, the heightened level of consciousness, and that all goes into our answers there as well.
Yeah.
It's like knowing that you have time to do things, knowing also like negotiating with yourself as well. Like some days are long, and it's be like, don't go too hard on this day, so then you can at least like pace yourself out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Because there's no point, because at the end of the day, you want to build good habits in Ramadan that you keep post Ramadan, rather than, hey, I've done it in Ramadan and then boom, I'm back onto the streets like post.
Yeah,
So
Okay. So the producer had a question. We've got to put it in before you guys go.
Let's make it short and sharp,
Yeah.
because we're going to.
How has your life changed since last Ramadan?
Shut up, Ahmed, bro. No,
What a way to end that.
How has your life changed since last Ramadan?
last Ramadan was long, fam. I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro.
Can't remember what happened last Ramadan.
Yeah, it was kind of a blur. So I don't think my life has changed much. I've travelled. I'm a wayfarer now officially.
Jeez.
Only when it's in your bio.
It is, yeah. Don't you have the pin, Melbourne?
No, I don't. I did not have it.
Somali flag / Australian flag.
Doesn't it say what's the word? Naam?
No. Yo.
Melbourne?
No. Oh my god. You still got Ampy here, huh?
Okay, so how's your life changed last Ramadan?
How's my life changed? Bro, I don't think I've changed, bro. It's kind of a bad answer, bro. You know? Yeah.
Well, I can tell you mine.
Like for me?
No, for me. One thing that I thought, like, over the last couple of weeks is I feel like even though it normally doesn't happen, but either I've stayed stagnant or I've went downhill a bit. You know, where sometimes you feel like, hey, I'm on a roll, I'm going up, I'm getting better at X, Y, and Z. And then I had all these habits and stuff. And then sometimes you just go through stagnant phases where you have to prioritize other things. And your old metrics for what used to mean you're doing the right thing, you're on track, it's changed. Obviously, over the last 6 months, it's been very busy. Things have changed. And
what's things, bro? You can't just say things, bro.
just life, like in general, like you have
but
to.
in your scenario.
Yeah, obviously, like getting married, moving out, you know, going on a honeymoon or whatever for like 7 weeks. It changes everything, you know. And you're before when I was single, it's like, okay, my goal is to do X. I used to base my day on the habits I'd do in that day. If it was reading, gym, memorizing, doing Arabic, whatever it is. And then now, over the last couple of months, I had to change. And even that changing isn't a bad thing. But then I have to learn to assess my life in a different way. And I haven't figured that out what it is yet. It's like, okay, I might only prioritize different habits. You know, even FairDinkum, we've been a bit falling behind, you know, which not having the same flow. So I feel like now I've been a bit stagnant since last Ramadan. I hope this month, a month of discipline, I can, get the ball rolling again, and kind of smash it out.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
which is a normal thing to do. You know, there's patches in life where you feel like you might be not improving the way you used to, but you make dua, you get back on the horse, and Allah alam what the future might hold.
Gotta be optimistic. Yeah, it's good.
That's a great short answer. I love it.
You got to
Really
ask the
killed that
question again to me because I forgot.
Just how has your life changed since last Ramadan?
That's a very good question for you, by the way. That's why I wanted you to touch on that marriage thing. Because you had like the most drastic change out of anyone in their lives, you know?
Half my deen, baby, it's done.
Yeah.
No more khatam. Half my deen.
It makes me want to not get married, bro. I'm joking. I don't really have an answer.
Are you working more this Ramadan?
Yeah, the difference between working full time and not having a job at all is
Sus has never not worked.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
He's the hardest. All the late night, no joke.
Because even for me, like, I feel like this Ramadan, I'm working a lot more than last. And that just automatically gave me more conscious of my time and how I'm using it. So just realizing, like, when I do have the free time, because it's more limited, I guess, with uni and work, you're starting to realize, okay, I need to use this time for actually doing ibadah and not just watching random videos on my phone or going out for no reason. Like, I don't have to go to every social event, for example. You actually have to see, is it worth my time, or should I be doing, like, catching up on the ibadah that I said I'll do?
definitely.
All in balance though as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Piggybacking off Ali's statement.
I genuinely did not have an answer for this. You know,
That's right.
and if I actually revealed my real answer,
Yeah, you probably came out in the podcast as it is. Yeah.
no, it hasn't come out there in the podcast.
Yeah.
It's too deep for the podcast. Let's just say that.
We have to go.
If you're trying to know, you can follow me on now.
Alhamdulillah. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Inshallah, you had a blessed Ramadan and you make the most of the last 10 days. Allah reward you. We hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you next week.
Well, one thing, yeah. If you guys want to see a longer version of this, we do it round 2. Hit that like button and we'll actually do it. If you don't, still hit that like button and we won't do it.
Fisabilillah.
Alright, take care guys. Peace.